So, what even is consciousness? I mean, it's way more than just being awake or asleep, right? It's one of the biggest mysteries of our existence. It's the very fabric of our reality. That feeling of being, well, you. Today, we're not just going to explore this mystery, we're going to uncover a practical guide to living a more conscious life. This quote from philosopher David Chalmers really gets right to the heart of the whole puzzle. Think about it. Our brains are these unbelievable supercomputers, just crunching data all day long. But why does any of that come with an inner feeling? Why do we actually experience the warmth of the sun or truly see the color red instead of our brains just, registering the data? That's the huge question we're tackling today. So before we can even begin to talk about becoming more conscious, we first have to get our heads around what scientists and philosophers call the hard problem. This is the absolute foundation of this whole conversation, the bedrock mystery we're building everything on. Okay, so what's really fascinating here is the difference between what scientists call the easy and hard problems. Now, the easy problems, they aren't easy at all. They're massively complex, things like figuring out how the brain focuses attention. But at the end of the day, they're questions about function. We could, in theory, build a robot that does all that stuff. But the hard problem, that's the real enigma. Why does all that function create the rich, internal movie that is your subjective experience? Why is there something it is like to be you? That is still one of the biggest mysteries in all of science. Given how ridiculously complex this is, it's no surprise that there's no single perfect definition for consciousness. It can mean anything from simple wakefulness, what a doctor might check for, all the way to this deep philosophical idea of a stream of thoughts and feelings. So for our chat today, let's just focus on a practical definition. It's our personal awareness of both our inner world and the world around us. So we've touched on this enormous philosophical mystery, but here's the exciting part. How do we actually work with our own consciousness? Let's shift gears from the big, abstract ideas to a practical tool that lets us engage directly with our own awareness, right here and right now. And that tool is mindfulness. I love this definition from Jon Kabat-Zinn. It's paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. See, it's not about emptying your mind or stopping your thoughts. It's about actively and intentionally connecting with what's happening right now. This is a level of consciousness that every single one of us can practice. And, mindfulness isn't just one thing. For some people, it can be a natural trait they just seem to have more of. It can be a temporary state we all get into, like when you're totally lost in a piece of music. But, and this is the most important part, it's a practice. It's a skill you can build and strengthen over time, just like a muscle. All right, let's get to the real core of this explainer, a hands-on 5-step guide based on the work of Dr. Laura Schenk for moving from living on autopilot to a more conscious and awake existence. This is where all that theory starts to meet real life. So, here it is. This is our roadmap. First, find your values. Second, take control of your health. Third, do work that actually matters to you. Fourth, master your mind. And fifth, nurture conscious relationships. Each step really builds on the last, creating this powerful path to a much more intentional and meaningful life. Okay, step 1, find your values. So why start here? Well, think about it. If you don't know what truly matters to you, your life is just being guided by what other people want or by old habits. Your values are like your internal compass. They're the guideposts that let you navigate your life with intention instead of just drifting. And listen, this isn't about picking the values you think you should have. It's about some deep, honest self-reflection. As you look at this list, what truly genuinely resonates with you at your core? Is it family, freedom, justice? Figuring out your core values is the absolutely essential first step to a life driven by purpose. Step 2 is all about recognizing that our consciousness isn't just floating around in a void. It's tied to our bodies. Taking control of your health means becoming aware of the direct link between what you do, what you eat, how you move, how you rest, and how you feel, mentally and physically. It's about consciously connecting your actions with their consequences. And look, this doesn't mean you have to do a complete life overhaul tomorrow. You can start so small. Add just one healthy habit. Get rid of one unhealthy one. Even the simple act of mindfully savoring a meal instead of just inhaling it can make a huge difference. The goal is to build that conscious connection with your body and actually listen to what it's telling you. Step 3 ties directly back to our values, doing work that matters. I mean, we spend so much of our lives at work. If that work feels totally meaningless or is completely out of sync with what we figured out in step one, it can just drain our conscious energy. But on the flip side, aligning your work with your values can be this incredible source of vitality and engagement. So just take a minute and get curious with these questions. Are you rejuvenated or are you totally drained by your work? When do you lose all track of time and get into that amazing state of flow? Answering these questions honestly can show you whether your professional life is helping you or holding you back on this path. All right, step 4 is where we turn that awareness inward, to the mind itself. Mastering your mind means taking a step back and just observing your own thoughts, beliefs, and habits, especially the ones that are so deeply ingrained you don't even question them anymore. It's a really fascinating process of self-discovery. You could say this is about shining the bright light of mindfulness onto yourself. It means admitting that you don't have all the answers, trying to observe things without that immediate judgment, and just staying deeply curious about the world. Challenging your own automatic thought patterns is absolutely key to expanding your conscious horizons. And finally, step 5. This one acknowledges that our consciousness doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? It's deeply, deeply influenced by our relationships. So this final step is all about becoming aware of your interpersonal patterns and making intentional choices about who you share your precious energy with. The key point here is really energy. Who in your life drains you and who adds vitality? A conscious relationship is an active choice. It means moving towards people who respect your values and intentionally invest in your time and your positive energy into the connections that truly matter and build you up. Now, this 5-step path is a really powerful framework. But with any popular tool for self-improvement, it's super important to look at it with open eyes. And that means we also have to consider some of the sharp criticism that mindfulness has gotten as it's become more and more mainstream. This quote from Ron Purser just sums up the whole McMindfulness critique perfectly. The argument is that mindfulness can be stripped of its ethical roots and just used superficially, like a corporate tool to de-stress employees so they can be more productive, without ever fixing the real problems like overwork or a toxic culture. It's a really powerful warning against using these ideas as just a quick fix. So keeping that caution in mind and understanding the difference between a temporary painkiller and a real shift in awareness, where does that leave all of us? Well, it leaves us with a profound choice that we face in every single moment. So many of us go through life on automatic pilot, just going through the motions. The central message here is that you have the power to make a different choice. You can choose to live a life that's aligned with your values, a life filled with meaning and purpose. That is the true benefit of waking up. So the final question is this. And it's not about achieving some perfect state of constant mindfulness. It's really just about intention. In this moment, and in the next one, and the one after that, are you actively choosing to be conscious?